Looks like Nancy Pelosi is going to be bringing back the House of Representatives to work on this $3.5 trillion stimulus plan that they're going to try to get approved. Now, in this new budget plan, they might have the fourth stimulus check in there. They might extend a lot of the unemployment benefits out, maybe even the child tax credit out through the year 2025. That's something they're going to have to vote on. Now, the infrastructure plan looks like it passed in the Senate. The Senate passed that infrastructure plan that's going to be more money for roads, bridges, infrastructure for internet access, broadband, things like that. These are great avenues for everybody to jump into because this is where all the money is going to be sent out to those infrastructure plans that they want to set up. Now, President Biden has his Build Back Better plan. He has the American Jobs Plan, which is the infrastructure plan. Then he also is trying to get this American Families Plan passed. I don't know if the American Families Plan is going to be separate from the $3.5 trillion infrastructure plan, but I think what they'll have to do is put it into that budget plan, try to get those things extended out. This is going to be tough for Nancy Pelosi to try to get that budget plan set up because they're going to have to raise the debt ceiling. They're going to have to borrow more money. They're going to have to print more money. Ultimately, that's going to put a lot of pressure on the dollar. But right now, it looks like they're going to try to get that passed. Now, there are other states that have received billions of dollars in this American Rescue Plan. They're going to be sending out checks to a lot of people in those different states, a lot of people in that resident area. There are some new plans. The SNAP program has been extended or has been increased. So a lot of people, there's about 46 million people on that SNAP program are going to be getting more money. Also, a lot of the unemployment benefits might be ending next month. But I think personally that Congress is going to come in and try to get that extended out. So we'll have to see what that is happening. I'm going to cover a lot of the news and details that's happening with the stimulus checks right here on this video for you. So recently, this $3.5 trillion spending package is something the Democrats are trying to push. Bernie Sanders, he's the lead guy in this, trying to get this approved. It's going to be tough because the Republicans in the Senate don't really want to vote on this. Now, what the Democrats are going to try to do is they're going to try to use the reconciliation process where they only need 51 votes in the Senate in order to get this passed. Now, Nancy Pelosi can get the House of Representatives to pass these bills, but it's tough in the Senate because there's only the Democratic vote of the 51, and they need at least 10 more votes for Democrats to have those votes in the Senate. So it's going to be tough. We'll see if they can get this done. Now, also in this is President Biden wants to cancel the student debt, and if they can get that into this $3.5 trillion spending bill, that's going to wipe out a lot of the debt that people have for student loans. I heard they were going to cancel maybe up to $10,000, but maybe they're going to try to cancel the whole thing. I don't know why they need a bill to pass that. I think he can just sign an executive order to get that done. But I don't know if he's going to do that. He did promise that in his campaign. I mean, he said you vote for me and I'll cancel the debt. So hopefully a lot of those students that had that debt are going to get that benefit from him getting that vote that he promised those people.
Which of those do you think are the most important, and what do you think is the most important thing that's being left out?
You know, it certainly is good news that the Democratic Party and the government has decided to do what it should have been doing for the last 40 years. So credit where credit is due. The question now here is how much progressives are going to be able to keep focus on all that still needs to be done, given the fact that we are in an unprecedented crisis, the likes of which we haven't seen in nearly double that time. So, for example, it's obviously incredible. This was a huge part of the Bernie campaign that we wanted not just Medicare for all, but for Medicare to include dental, hearing, and vision. It also remains crucial that more people get access to that who are younger and younger, so that yes, eventually everybody in America can have access to those kinds of programs. It's incredibly important not to lose sight of all of the things that Joe Biden can do by virtue of executive order, including canceling student debt. And this is a conversation that we recently had with former Bernie deputy campaign manager Ari Rabenhoft in this two-part episode that we had come out this week, where there's a very different set of concerns and concentration for activists and people who are playing an outside game than insiders. And in moments like this where there is some progress, it can be difficult for progressives to continue to push for the things that are very much needed against the overwhelming media tide of you should be happy with this progress. And of course, progress is good, and Bernie Sanders has been fighting a very valiant fight for a very long time to get these things achieved. And I think it's appropriate to have a moment of victory while also being kind of clear-eyed about the path before us.
And so there is this big push for reoccurring payments. The Senate right now, the Congress, they basically approved three bills, the $1,200 checks, the $600 checks, and then the $1,400 checks. Now, these pretty much are these just one-time payments, but there is a lot of pressure on Congress to get these reoccurring payments out, some type of universal basic income. Yeah, there is a child tax credit that is going out every month. That is the $300 every month, but that leaves out those that don't have children. And that's where this petition comes in. There's about 3 million signatures on this petition. You can actually go to change.org and you can add your signature to this, but they're trying to put pressure on the House of Representatives and Senate to get this done. And what they're trying to do is get $2,000 payments for adults and $1,000 payments for kids. This would be good. This is up to close to 2.8 million signatures, and they're trying to get to that 3 million signature mark so they can really put some pressure on Congress saying, hey, this is what we want to get done. This isn't set in stone. This isn't said, this is what's going to happen. This is just a lot of Democrats, a lot of senators, a lot of people in the House of Representatives saying this is what we want to get done. And they're trying to get a lot of momentum behind this to move this forward. Personally, I think they're going to have to just wait for the Federal Reserve to come out with some type of Fed Now coin, some digital currency coin that they're going to drop into people's phones. And then they'll be able to put money onto those phones directly. That to me looks like it's going to be the way they're going to be going. They'll have some type of stable coin because there is a lot of pressure on the stable coins right now. They're actually going out there and taking and using a pretty good system. The Federal Reserve is going to have to do that, but they're going to have to drop that money into those people's accounts that want stimulus, that deserve stimulus, and then they're going to take that and go out and spend it into the economy. I think that's the road they're going on right now.
The relief bill is still winding its way through Congress, but today 10 Democratic senators are laying down a marker for the next stimulus package. They're calling on President Biden to make sure that his massive infrastructure and investment plan includes an extension of unemployment benefits and recurring stimulus checks, and importantly, that those benefits are tied to broader economic conditions. Well, this idea of automatic stabilizers has won the backing of key Senate committee chairmen Bernie Sanders, Ron Wyden, and Sherrod Brown. In a new letter to President Biden, they wrote, "This crisis is far from over, and families deserve certainty that they can put food on the table and keep a roof over their heads. Families should not be at the mercy of constantly shifting legislative timelines and ad hoc solutions." Enhanced unemployment benefits will run out in just about 2 weeks. The current relief bill would extend them through the end of August, but after that, lawmakers and workers would face another cliff. Now, I've talked to unemployed workers about this, and they told me that they feel burned that their benefits will be cut off at an arbitrary date, and that lawmakers' promises of making those benefits retroactive haven't panned out. So you can see how the fight on Capitol Hill is already starting. Well, the reality is that there's actually bipartisan support for the idea of tying these benefits to economic conditions. This is something that Republicans in the Bipartisan Problem Solvers Caucus had supported during previous rounds of negotiations. They called them boosters. But the biggest issue with it is that it can be complicated to explain to both other lawmakers and to the public. And then lawmakers would have to also agree on what the metrics would be for when the benefits would go up or be phased out. So some of the data points that lawmakers are talking about to tie these benefits to would be primarily either the unemployment rate or the employment to population ratio. So that way, if the job market is looking really lousy, then they'd be able to give unemployed workers bigger benefits. Once the job market looks a little bit better, some of those extra supports would then fade away. The question, though, is would this just be in place during the pandemic, or are we moving to a system where all benefits are being considered on a sliding scale? And there is differing opinions on how long this type of new policy should last.
Now, it's good news for a lot of states. I know maybe your state is not in here, but I think that eventually the states are going to have to finally come up and start making stimulus payments. Every state received billions of dollars in the American Rescue Plan. If you are in a state that's not included in this list right here, I would reach out to your governors. I would reach out to your legislative people in your area, in the state, whatever the capital is. Try to reach out to them, say, hey, you have money that was sent to you by the federal government. You need to turn around and pay that to your citizens. So California is going to be sending out $1,200 payments, or $500 to up to $1,200 payments to those that are eligible for that. You have to live in California, and I believe it's about 2/3 of people in California are going to be receiving this Golden State Stimulus Check 1 and 2. So there are two checks going out. Colorado looks like one-time payments totaling $375 is going out to Colorado. This is going to be for people that claimed unemployment benefits between $25 and $500 for any week between these two dates right here. So those that did claim that money last year, then they will be getting a stimulus check. Florida is stepping up and sending out pretty good payments, $1,000 bonuses. This is going to firefighters, law enforcement officers, EMTs, and paramedics. And then the second round is going out to teachers and school principals. So that is good news for Florida and those bonuses. Georgia also is sending out $1,000 payments, $500 for part-time workers and $1,000 for full-time employees in that state for educators. Maryland, same thing, is going to be $300 or $500. This is going to be going to people that claimed earned income tax credit in that state. Also $500 and $250 for hazard pay in Michigan. Those living there will be getting a check. And in New Mexico, one-time payment of $750 is going out to a lot of people in New Mexico. Now, New Mexico is one of the states that received about $1.8 billion from the federal government, and it looks like they'll be sending out payments of $750 payments this summer. Tennessee looks like they're going to be approving $1,000 payments, K through 12 teachers. And in Texas, looks like some of the cities are going to be sending out more stimulus. So you have Denton, Fort Worth, Arlington getting a 4% bump. These are for teachers. And then one of the biggest ones is going to be Irvine sending out $2,000 for teachers to try to get them back to the classroom. So those are a lot of the states that are happening right now. I think the list is going to continue to grow. A lot of the governors are going to look at California and see what they did and start to get their stimulus payments out to everybody. So there is just child tax credit. I know a lot of people that don't have children, you're waiting for the next stimulus check, but there are about 36 million people that are receiving these child tax credit payments. You can go to the IRS child tax credit portal, and you can check on the status of that child tax credit payment, whether you get it in the mail or by check. You can also check your bank account if you haven't received that check. And then if you have not received that payment, you can file a trace with the IRS to try to get that payment out there. The bank is going to say IRS TREAS 310. That's what it's going to show up on your bank account for that child tax credit. Now with the child tax credit, it's going to be $300 per month for children under the age of 6. And you can multiply that by how many children that you have. And then if you have between 6 and 17, you get $250 will be sent out for that child tax credit there. So it's $3,600 total is the total amount that each child is going to be receiving. And what the federal government is trying to do is split those up into payments on a monthly basis. Right now, they're just doing monthly payments up to December, and then in next March, they're going to send out the $1,800. So that'll be the total on that. So look for those payments to be sent out every month on the July 15th up until December. Those are going to be the child tax credit payments. And again, it's $75,000 or less, $150,000 for married couples or less if you file jointly. If you make less than those amounts, then those payments will automatically go out. If you have not received your child tax credit, you can file with the Treasury. It's a non-filer's tool. You can fill out that information, send in your information, get your bank account and your address or whatever you want to do. But you send that information in with your filings of your 2020, and then you add dependents onto that. So those dependents will be added to your filings. If you've never received your first or second check, there is a recovery rebate section in the non-filers tool. You just click on that, say, I've never received my payment. I want to get my payment. And then they'll look at that information. And if they didn't send you payment out there, we'll send those to you as quickly as possible. So you do have to file your returns in order to get these child tax credit payments sent out to you. So it looks like good news for a lot of people that are on the SNAP program. They've increased this amount too. This is one of the biggest increases, I think, in a very long time. $36 per person per month is the increase, I guess, of the payment. So whatever it is you're getting paid on, you just add that onto your payments. It looks like it's going to be increased for that. Now this looks like this is SNAP benefits only used as groceries, meaning this is target investment. It will also help grow the food economy, creating thousands of new jobs along the way. California, Tennessee, Texas, Florida, and North Carolina, those are the ones that are benefiting most from this SNAP program. So that's pretty good news for the food economy because it's going to create more jobs. You get more money flowing through those types of industries. That's why I've said the infrastructure plan, I think, is if you can get in one of those bridges, roads, infrastructure plan, any of those jobs that are being supported by that infrastructure, that's a great place to be into right now because that's where a lot of the jobs are going to be created. There's going to be a lot more jobs created, and there's going to be a ton of money going through those. So that's why I always recommend people jump into those infrastructure plan type jobs because that's where the federal government is spending billions and billions of dollars. So the IRS has actually come out and said that they are delaying some of the refunds just because of the fact that they're overwhelmed. They just can't be able to handle it. But there are 68 million refunds done so far out of the 91 million. So there's like 29 million more refunds that need to be processed. There is a Where My Refund tool online. You can go there, you can fill out that information, and you can get that payment sent out to you. You can just go there and figure out where is my refund at, and then you can see when it was processed, when it's going to be processed, and when that will be going out. So that's good news. A lot of people need those refunds for their 2020 year of their. So if you have any questions, drop those questions in the comments below.